Welcome to Limelight Conversations. I'm your host, Troy D. Williams, and we have a very, very special guest in the house tonight. This is an award-winning filmmaker, actor, producer, TV host, you name it. We have the very talented triple threat, Christina Carmona. What's going on, Christina?
Not much. Thank you for having me, Troy. How are you doing?
Everything is good. How's life?
Very good. Very busy. Oddly enough, during this time, it's starting to finally pick back up a little bit, so that's good.
Amen to that. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about Christina today.
All right. What do you want to know?
So let's talk about where you were born. You were born in the Bronx, right?
Yes, I was born in the Bronx. I lived there until about the age of 12 or 13. I moved to Florida, South Florida particularly, with my mom. My dad was still waiting to retire, so it's like I lived in New York part-time in Florida. So I still have my accent, so you know. Still count on the water and the coffee. You know, it hasn't left.
So you said you were down in South Florida?
Yes. I lived in Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale, Okay. All right, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So at what age did you get into acting, and where did that passion come from?
You know, I feel like it's the most cliche thing to say, because I feel like a lot of people say it, they've been acting their whole life, but literally, I feel like I came out of the womb ready. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all right, you know, when I was young, I just remember pretending to be Sally Jesse Raphael. I don't even know if you remember her.
No.
Or anybody? Yeah.
I'll look her up.
She was this like old talk show host, God bless. And for some reason, I was just like, you know what? I want to be a talk show host. That's what I started with. My mom, she ran a daycare center, so I had people to perform in front of, you know what I mean? So I started acting before I really even knew what acting was. So
that's deep.
Literally, I just always remember being that way.
Now, you have a strong performing background, though, because you've done theater.
Yes.
Right, not just film. Like, you've done a lot of theater.
Right.
I seen one of your plays. I think you had like a backwards hat.
Yes.
What was that one?
That was called Matt and Ben.
Okay.
So that theater show was actually written by Mindy Kaling.
Okay.
From The Office and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And she wrote that with one of her best friends, and it was to poke fun at the friendship that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have. Like, there's no way that these two people could have written Good Will Hunting. So to add to that, they had the script written for two females. And I actually got to play the role of Ben Affleck, which actually Mindy Kaling also played. So it was a lot of fun. I got to pretend to be a guy. I don't know. You know, it's really the only time you get to do that when you're acting. So, but that was a really great show.
You killed it though. I seen a couple of them, and yeah, you guys did that like on a schedule, like you did it more than once.
Yes, we did. We played at various venues. We played at the venue here. We played in Eustis, Mount Dora. We were everywhere with that show.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah. Now with film, like when did you start getting into film?
I started getting into film as early as high school. So I went to Stoneman Douglas, which, you know, is near and dear to my heart. That was the school that taught me about TV production. So we had a TV production teacher, and she came from Chicago. And when she taught us, she was like, all right, you guys want to tell a story? You're going to write your own package. You're going to put it together. You're going to film it. Like, we had to do it ourselves, you know? So that was the first time I had ever done anything like that. Prior, I actually wrote a lot of poetry. So writing was a thing that I had always done. And I knew that when I started putting these packages together for class, I'm like, I just took something that looked like nothing and made it into something that people enjoy. So that's where that part of, you know, production started for me in filmmaking. So then I put my poetry and my storytelling with that together, and then
there you go.
I became a filmmaker.
There you go.
Yeah.
And great actress, very talented, one of the best I've worked with. I know we met on the set of Turnaround.
Yes.
And shout out to James Hunter.
Yeah.
I've cast as an amazing movie. And then we got to work together on a project. I mean, it never took off, but I remember a lot of actors won't admit this. I was very nervous to work with you because I saw your resume and I saw that you were very serious with the craft. And I was just starting at the time. Right. So, but you carried the scene though.
And it didn't help that I had to yell at you either. I had to like get in your face. Oh my goodness. So.
But it was, Carrie saying, like, it's always great when you have that scene partner that kind of just gives you something to feed off of. You know, it's like, it's depth. You know, it's depth in that scene. So it was pleasure working with you. And I remember one of your lines was, and as I recall, I know how to get my money. And I think you know that, right?
Yes. Oh, that's so funny.
But that line was so deep because I'm like, when I look at your life, like that line is deeper than just the line that we in the scene. It's kind of like your life in real life. Right. So let's transition to that. And I call you like a boss, you know?
Thank you.
Female filmmaker. So talk about how did you get into the whole directing and producing, and then tell me a little bit about Bad Kitty Films LLC.
All right. So I'll start with Bad Kitty. So I got into TV production, like I told you, in school and everything. And then I'm actually a cat person. So one of my favorite Disney films is The Cheshire Cat. The Cheshire Cat. I call it The Cheshire Cat. It's Alice in Wonderland. And the Cheshire Cat's in it.
I was like,
it's not called The Cheshire. That's how much I like that character. So with that, I always thought to myself, when I get older, I'm going to have a film company and I'm going to name it Bad Kitty Films. And I'm going to have a logo and it's going to have the Cheshire Cat, like my version of it, and that's what it's going to be. And so when I hit about 24 years old, I got that opportunity to actually start my own company, and I did. And I kept true to like Tiny Tina, and I'm like, Bad Kitty Films, somebody get me a Cheshire Cat, you know? So I had a wonderful, wonderful girl. She fashioned up the artwork.
Oh, nice.
For Chester.
Nice. Nice. Now, what are some of the advantages of having your own production company?
Well, the first advantage of having your company is it's yours. So you get to do with it what you want, right? The cons of it is that, you know, you're starting from the bottom, technically, you know? So you have to get that name up there. Me, I think it's always better to be your own. We all want to be our own boss. Absolutely. So that's what really drove me. I wanted to tell my own stories, and I wanted to shoot things the way that I'd like to. So that's the biggest, I think, pro into having your own company. Okay.
And I think you've had a lot of success with that. So I know you've won multiple awards, right? Yes, as an actor and as a filmmaker. Right. So tell me about your first award. What was the first one that you won? I want to say that my first award, I can't remember. I know my first film. That many? Yeah. Gosh, no, that sounded terrible. I didn't even mean it like that. My first award, that would have to be from my first film, The Conversation. That film, I wrote it actually in 20 minutes. And it was just wild. You wrote it in 20 minutes? I wrote it in 20 minutes, yeah. Wow. Yeah. The pressure was on now, right? I'm like, I didn't expect it to do so well. I don't think that you ever do. You work on a project and you just hope that it's great. Whatever happens from there, that's where it goes. But I was inspired by the fact that we had Harold camping at the time, trying to predict the end of the world. So I said, who would know about the end of the world other than God and the devil? So sat them on a bench and they had that conversation. So that film ended up going on to win a Bronze Telly Award. And that was incredibly, surprising because it was my first film. So you don't expect that your first film is going to win a Telly. That's crazy. And, yeah, wow. Right. And then it's great. And it gives you that validation. Not that you really need validation with your art because your art is yours. There's nothing bad or good about, you know what I mean? That's right. It's what you create. But it also does help though when you do win something like that, because if you've created something that other people see worthy enough for an award, that means you're definitely on the right track. That's huge. So yeah. And that's my first biggest award. And then from there I was like, how do I get another one? Right? You don't ever want to stop. Yeah. So I haven't gotten another Telly since that one. So I'm trying to get there. Trying to get that other Telly. You'll get there. So let's transition a little bit. The 48-hour film project. Now, I did not know you were like a producer on that. Yeah. Because that's been going on for a while now. Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like here, particularly in Orlando, it's been going on for 15 years. But overall, it's been around for a long time. It happens
within over 137 different countries all over the world. Cities, I'm sorry, all over the world. And everybody competes within 48 hours. They create, write, shoot, and edit a film.
So how did you get into producing that?
That's a really good question. So I participated in a team a few years back, and we ended up winning for our city. So that was fantastic. That was a lot of fun. So when you win, you get to move on, right? And I got to see how everything happened with the 48. And this role particularly isn't a role that really opens up, because you have a lot of producers that just love producing the 48, understandably so. We participated again, and then I got to see a little bit more of everything that happens around it. You know, the first time it's just a whirlwind, because you're just like, it's 48, these are my lines, oh, okay. And you just, now I really knew about it. So then one day I just got an email that they were looking for a city producer, and I looked at what the qualifications were, what you needed to have, and I looked at it and said, I can do this. I used to work as a event production coordinator for Universal Studios as well. So I worked with Jimmy Fallon, the Today Show, the Tonight Show. I helped open up Diagon Alley, various resorts, the Reign of Kong, you know what I mean? So there is no event that I can't handle, maybe except for maybe a wedding, because you got the bridezilla. So I don't know. But I knew that it was a perfect fit. I loved running an event, and I love Orlando, and I love the people in it. And I think we have so much talent here. And I wanted to take the 48 to another level completely. And with that, I found out you can have a co-producer. So who better to co-produce with me than my business partner and also my best friend, Nando. So we run the 48 together, and that's kind of how it happened.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
So you told them Bad Kitty Films is here to take over.
I was like, here we go, and it was crazy because, you have the past producers and people get used to who they see, and that's totally fine.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, here's like these two kids taking over. So people are like, well, I don't know how we're going to like them. They're going to change everything. And so we went in there doing the best that we can. We only had a month and a half to pull it off. Usually you get a year, because the 48 happens here. The next 48 happens on the same day. They were like, congratulations, a month and a half. And we were like, what? But we just hit the ground running. Like I said, there's no event that I can't handle.
There you go.
So.
To earn your stripes.
Right. And so we got Kari Tagawa to come out and start up the 48. And that was super cool. The whole time I was talking to him, I low-key wanted him to be like, your soul is mine. You know what I mean? But he's so much more talented than just Shang Tsung, But we ended up beating a record last year for, our first run with only a month and a half. So
that's awesome.
It was great. It's just, you just learn it's about reaching out. It's about being there, being present. And when people saw that we were about to just make Orlando the best that it can be and really showcase what we have here, everybody's on board. So
now, real quick, for the people that are tuning into this and that are not in the filming industry, don't know how things work, right. Talk about the significance of 48 hours, because that's crazy. That means you're getting scripts and you're filming a film.
Right.
Typically short films, right?
It's short, yeah.
Okay, you're filming a film, and then it has to be fully edited,
yep.
and ready to show in 48 hours.
Yes.
2 days.
So, yes. So I super recommend anybody and everybody to do it, to be honest. A lot of people are a little bit nervous about it, but listen, try it. You don't know what's going to happen. So you have 48 hours to write, shoot, and edit a film. You can cast before that. You can come up with ideas, but you can't really write the script anyway, because you have certain things that you have to place in your film to make sure that you haven't cheated, right? So you get a line of dialogue, you get a prop, you get a character, and what their job is. And you won't know that until right when it starts. So you have to incorporate all of that. And you also pull your genre. So you can't just go and be like, well, I'm gonna film a drama. You might go in there and do musical. And now you have to have a musical with this certain prop, this certain character, this certain line of dialogue, and this type of setting. And so, it's really, really a great time for filmmakers to get out of the box.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because we are so easily, comfortable with what we know how to do, right? Like, I love dramas and I love psychological things. So naturally, I'm going to go that way, right? But then I pull out, Western musical, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And then, you know what? You pull it off, and then you're like, well, now I know I can do that.
Add that to the resume
and I can
now.
do that in 48 hours. And I tell people, you know what? At the end of the day, you know that in 48 hours, you have a completed project. So many of these 48-hour films end up going to do even bigger things. And then when it comes to the 48 itself, you go ahead and then, so at the end of it, everybody gets to see your film, and then its voting takes place. We don't actually vote. Myself and Nando, we watch the films, make sure everybody is within the 7-minute time frame and has all the elements that they need. We send it up to the judges, so nobody can get mad at me or Nando. We didn't do anything. We didn't judge it. So it goes in for judging, and then the winner of Best Film goes on to compete at Filmapalooza amongst all the other cities in the world. And that's spectacular. And the winners of Filmapalooza go on to screen at Cannes Film Festival, which is a major big deal. And this year, an Orlando film got all the way to Cannes.
Really?
Yes. Beautiful film. It was called Social Silence. So you can actually find that film and watch it if you head to the Orlando 48-Hour Film Project page. And this is a film that they made in 48 hours, and they got to go to Cannes. So you don't know what you're going to come up with, and it forces you to get out of the box. And as an actor, too, because that's how I started, you're put on the spot. You know what I mean? What are you going to do with this character? How are you going to turn this character into something that's going to work for this film? Because you don't have that time to really feel out, who the character is. So it's a test. It's a test. But I think that more times than not, it's something that, is always successful. You always learn something from it.
That's awesome. I was just going to ask you, like, the platform that these actors get. So that's huge. You can be like a local filmmaker, and then you can go international.
Right. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And it's a great way to just network with filmmakers from all over. Mm-hmm. My gosh, and if you were to see some of the films that come out from 48 hours, they get helicopters, they get like, it's really insane, So it's a great thing. So even you as an actor and a filmmaker, if you're ever interested, I suggest it.
We'll talk. I remember you told me you were going to cast me in one of your movies.
Yeah, that's still coming up, man. It's just literally every single time I try to get into my own project, I literally have something else. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got to put that off because I haven't been able to film anything in a while because I've been doing so many other things. So that's definitely in the works, though. So.
I'm going to remember that. I appreciate that.
You heard it here.
So, you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah. And that's only the half of it.
Right.
So, you just became a TV host, ICS.
Yes.
Right? Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
That is awesome. And that is actually on a TV network.
It is. Yes. It's on Orange TV.
Orange TV. Okay. So, talk about that a little bit. What is ICS?
So, ICS is short for Indie Cinema Showcase. I've actually hosted that television show back in the day, about 7 years ago. And then the show actually went on hiatus after that. Mm-hmm. So Gerald Godbout, the creator and exec producer, who
that's my guy.
You are very familiar with, he called Nando and I back, and he said, hey, they really want content again at Orange TV. And I said, I got to bring my hosts back. And we were like, what better time than now? 7 years ago is one thing, but now we've grown so much in the industry and as individuals. So Indie Cinema Showcase is a film show for filmmakers and lovers of independent film made by filmmakers who are still current in the industry, which I find is really important because with technology now and everything ever changing, like you have to keep up with it. And in order for us to really know what filmmakers are going through, we kind of have to be going through it ourselves.
Absolutely.
So we're not just a filmmaking show. We're filmmaking, but it's not just the actor, director, producer. It's the composers, it's the stunt guys, it's the acting schools, it's the makeup artists. I mean, we want to talk to everybody because a film is the team. You know what I mean? You have the director, but you can't do anything without the DP.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We need those guys. So it's about everything that has to do with film. So we visit sets, we visit cons, film festivals, we're everywhere.
Okay, you guys were, is it the Orlando Film Festival that was coming up? Or
I think,
at the
we went to the Orlando Film Festival.
Okay, I saw something about
that. We did. We covered over at the Orlando Film Festival. Unfortunately, it was smaller because of COVID, but we still made it out and we got to talk to some great filmmakers. I think the next one coming up might be Senflow in January, so we'll be there as well. So.
Okay, I know those people too.
Yeah, great guys. Yeah, Brendan is amazing.
Yeah, that's my guy as well.
Yeah,
See, I know all these people, man.
Right,
I'm trying to get as popular as you know, trying to network a little bit.
You seem to be right there. That's okay. That's okay, yeah. But that's ICS, and so I'm really glad that I'm able to help push our talent here in Central Florida. It's really important to myself, to Nando, to Jerry, to really just bring our community together and showcase stuff. And you know what? Inspire people to do something. You know, you might be like, hey, I don't know really anything about film. Put on Indie Cinema Showcase. You just learned a little bit about makeup and how to apply something. Or you just learned, from a cinematographer, some key things to know when you're filming and to look out for, or screenwriter. And we want you to be able to come to us for your filmmaking questions. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great outlet, and I think platform for everyone, and it gives you something new. You get to be on TV. So, yeah.
That has to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a great job.
Awesome. I'm very proud of you guys, and that's huge what you guys are doing for the film community here in Orlando. So, what I wanted to ask you about, as far as being a female filmmaker, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the like ups and downs and like dealing with the politics in the industry? What are some of the challenges that you've faced?
Okay, well, it's unfortunate that it happens to that right now is the best time to be a female filmmaker, right? You don't ever want anything to get to a point where it's so bad that now people see you. With that being said, now it's the perfect time to be, a female filmmaker and out there and really, like, if you've got a story to tell it. If you want to do it, do it. You know what I'm saying? This is the time. And also, being a female filmmaker in a predominantly male-run industry, I always thought being different is dope. You know what I mean? When is being different ever really bad, right? So stick out. People remember you that way. And if it happens to be because you're a girl, then you know what, hey. So that's what I think. I think there's a lot of just pros, especially now because, we're getting looked at and recognized for different things. The cons, it will always be a little bit tough. I myself have had some little issues when it comes to that. For instance, we were at a film festival, I'm not gonna name it. And my husband happened to be there, Nando, my business partner, and we were talking to two other male filmmakers, and we were all just talking about our films, and a photographer came up that was representing the film festival, and he was like, ma'am, can you move over a little bit? I'm trying to get the filmmakers. And I turned around with my filmmaker badge, excuse me? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were a filmmaker. My husband, he has a tag that's like, I'm just a VIP. But he automatically assumed because I was a girl, a female, that I probably wasn't a filmmaker. As well as even certain castings that I've had for my own company. We'll have casting calls and people will come in and they'll go straight to Nando. And I'll be like, Director Christina Carmona, and it doesn't matter. Everybody just kind of looks over at him and he's like, no, she's the one you need to talk to. So it's still kind of something that you have to remind people. You just have to put in some hard work being a female. I'm not going to lie. It's hard work, but hard work pays off. So there's nothing wrong with working a little bit harder.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So what's your outlook on, I guess the current state of mind in the industry as far as equality, as far as pay for actors and actresses? There's a big gap, sometimes even with A-listers,
Yeah, that's That's crazy to think that it happens still to that extent.
Crazy.
To me. I mean, no matter what, you should be paid based on your experience, based on what you can do. And it shouldn't really matter if you're a guy or a girl. You know, I mean, it's still a work in progress. So hopefully we can get to a level of equality that's really equal and people can really recognize.
You know, I was just reading, it was an interesting article, Chadwick Boseman, I rest in peace. So the movie he did, 21 Bridges.
Right.
His co-star was Sienna Miller, I think it was. Apparently he took less money so the gap between them would be closer.
Wow.
He took less money so she could get more.
Good for him. See, we need more. That's what we need more of. You know what I mean? People like that, and just it's got to start from the top. You know what I mean? We have a lot of people who've been doing this for so long sometimes, and they're used to certain ways. Those ways don't work anymore. Right. They haven't worked then, really. Right. So we need to start recognizing that and calling that out for what it is. Right. To really start seeing changes as we've, been seeing, but there's still a ways to go. Right. And that's why I wanted to bring you on here, because I have so much respect with what you're doing, making boss moves. It's like what I call it, because I think, I think more women in boss positions, I think that will eventually equal more equality for women, even in actresses, like makeup, all the entire cast and crew, So I think it's great things what you're doing. Thank you. And I hope that everybody, if you want to act, if you want to make films, if you want to, whatever you want to do, just go for it. Don't let anybody, because of anything that you have, if you're not tall enough, if you're short, like whatever, you know what I mean? Because I've been told plenty of times I'm too short, you know what I mean, to do whatever have you. And I'm like, well, we'll see, So I'm definitely all about pushing everybody to do what makes them feel good and what makes them happy. You know what I'm saying? So don't let anybody out there stop you. What you think that people want to see stop you, because only you can stop yourself. So just go for it. Why not? I feel you. I like that. So we got all this work, right? Yes. So let's take it to different gears now. All right. What about almost 2 years ago now? You got married. I did. Congratulations. Thank you. You have an amazing husband. I do. Jeremy. Yes. Right? Yes, I do. Being here actually reminds me of back home a little bit. New York, we actually got married in Central Park. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Everybody thinks it might have been my idea, but it actually wasn't. It was his. He wanted to go to New York and get married, and we went to Central Park and got married. It's crazy. Time flies. I'm sure you know about that because you've been married for quite some time and you got some beautiful kids, and they're growing. Thank you. So you're probably like, whoa. That's it. But yeah, we're going on 2 years. He's also in the industry, but he's in the music side, which is super cool to see because I've never experienced that. One thing I've always been able to do is like act and dance, but I can only play, I could play the recorder. You know what I mean? That's about it. And then comes my husband who can play 7 different instruments. He's a singer, he produces music, he's a DJ, and that to me is just, it's like a whole nother world that I've been now exposed to that I appreciate so much. Wow, that was deep. So you said you could do everything except for this one thing. This one thing. And then he comes in and he puzzles. Right. It just it works. And not only that, he understands the industry and I understand the industry, of course, because we're both in it. So we understand each other better. There's a lot of people who might not really get what we do, right? And you don't blame them because it's different. It's not the normal thing. It's a crazy world. It is a very crazy world. You know what I mean? It just, and so I think that also really helps too, that he's in it and I'm also in it. But also we're doing different things too, so. Now, how do you guys find the balance to, I know you're doing like 4, 5, 6 different things. I can't even keep up. I lost count. I'm like, how do you do all this? So how do you guys find that balance just to and have that quality time? Right. It's funny that you would ask that. It kind of works out that way naturally, to be honest. And even still, we try to make a point to always spend time with each other, to always have a day. Like, we just went to a farm. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. We picked some sunflowers. And that was a lot of fun. We like to do that kind of stuff. And not only that, whenever he's able to come with me to any of my events, he's right there. For him, I'm right there. And it's great because he gets to do these red carpet things and he's like, this is cool. Like, I'm doing this networking thing with these filmmakers. What film did you have? And then he was just playing in Vegas and I'm like, this is so cool. You know what I mean?
That's huge.
I'm in the DJ booth like, he got to play one time and Fat Joe was there and I'm just like, all the way up. You know what I mean? I'm living. So we both really appreciate, what we do. And I love that about him. I love that he's so inspiring because of how he attacks the business. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's so positive and he works so hard. Like, he's not just a good DJ. And this is me talking about him as a person, not as my husband to become biased. But he knows music. He works on music every day. He sings. He knows everything about it so that it shows me that in order to keep going to the next level, you are always working on your stuff. You are never the best actor in the world. You know what I mean? There's always something that you can work on. And if you can't find anything to work on, then you need to look again because there's something else to work on. So he's taught me that. That hard work just really does pay off. Sometimes, I look at myself, I'm like, wow, like I've done that. I've really built this. But it's hard to look at yourself like that sometimes. Mm-hmm. You're just like, okay, well, cool. Well, what's the next thing?
Right.
That's always been my fault almost. I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm like, okay, this was great. We did this. Next project. You don't really get to celebrate that. And don't do that. Celebrate everything, every success, small, big, whatever. It's a success is success. A goal is a goal no matter what. And he's really shown me by looking at him from the outside that hard work is so important and just learning your craft as best as you can really will always set you out apart from somebody else.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Supportive.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's very supportive. He's here in the studio with us today.
He is.
Yes.
He is. I'm not going to look at him now. I can see him in peripherals.
Yeah, you guys are like that celebrity couple on social media. You guys be like coordinating. I'm like, you guys are like fresh, man.
Thank you.
I seen you on the red carpet.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I give him a little bit of the glitter. He needs to get some shoes like that next.
Oh, these things.
I hope these aren't the shot because if they're not, you need to do some kind of there we go.
Oh, okay. You're making me laugh. I'm having too much fun here. All right, so one last thing, because I know, like I said, you have a lot of things going on. But the Queen of the Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament.
Yes.
Now I know you've been doing that for a while. Like, what do you do exactly there?
So I've been working at Medieval Times for about 4 years now. I started off there as a princess, and I got there just the right time because they turn over their shows about every 4 to 5 years. This particular show had been the longest running. And so I got there as princess. I got to do it for a year. And then all of a sudden they were like, we're doing a new show. And not only are we doing a new show, we're doing something for the first time ever. We are giving the throne to a queen. Sole queen, no king, no prince, no, just a queen and a chancellor. And I'm like, wait, what does that mean? Does that mean I get to ride a horse? Yes, I do. I get to do that. So it's a big deal for Medieval Times to even do that. And this particular show, as stated by the director, he started writing this long before any of this, big movement happened, and it just worked out perfectly. So I am the queen there. I rule over the realm. I keep the knights in place. It's a lot of fun, and I'm honored to have been one of the first females to take on that mantle of being a queen and changing things.
It's a story.
Yeah, for kids and for little girls, and for anybody who told me I was too short. I'm not too short to be a queen, though, right? No, I kid, but But yeah, it's really awesome to be able to be a part of that change, and to see little girls say, hey, you know, I want to be, you know, I don't want to be a princess anymore. I want to be a queen. I'm like, that's right. There's nothing wrong with a princess. Keep elevating, you know? So it's a lot of fun. We just recently opened back up in July. We had to close for the first time, I believe, in 35 years.
Wow.
Aside from like having to close for hurricanes and stuff, but for this length of time, it was the first time ever in 35 years. And we have about 10 castles. So
it's like your playground.
Yeah. And Orlando, Kissimmee, I should say, is actually the first ever castle.
Wow.
So they brought it over, I believe it started in Spain. They brought it over to Orlando. So we're the only ones that actually have a village and a torture chamber, which you could visit, which people like to think that, you know, I use, but I'm a good queen. I don't do that. You know, only the knights who act up or, you know, challenge my, you know.
When they get out of line, you gotta.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
They challenge my power.
New York comes out, it's a wrap.
Funny enough, though, as an actor, that's like the biggest thing. When I was a kid, I used to always practice accents. And when I do the show, which you'll have to come see, you know, eventually, you probably won't recognize the sound of my voice because it is not Christina at all. So many people have come to see me and they're like, who in the world is that? Because I have to hide that accent because, you know, I can't really say my father, the king. You know what I mean? So they didn't say that back then. So I have to, you know, do away with that. So it's a different thing. And that's a part of acting that I love too. You know what I mean? And with that role particularly, I do it so often that I feel like I'm always practicing. Even though it's the same show, it's really never the same show because it's live theater. So if a horse doesn't want to go out, those guys, what they say goes there. You know what I mean? Those guys are the stars of the show. So, you know what I mean? And the knights, they're awesome. So it's always different. Something always can happen that might change up the show a little bit. So keeps you on your toes, especially with improv.
Yeah, that's definitely good practice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a little bit more theater myself.
Yeah, you should. It's a beautiful thing. It's right on the spot. You stop getting used to the cut. Let me do it again. Get it right the first time. You know what I mean? Especially when you have like your actors on stage with you, and they're like, next line, or you have to cover for them and you hate them for it. You're like, so it's definitely something I recommend. I recommend it. I don't recommend going through that, but it'll teach you a lot. You learn a lot from it.
You have to rehearse a lot of the front end.
A lot of rehearsal
preparation.
time. Yes,
absolutely. So that's why I feel like that makes you a better actor no matter what.
100%.
It's only a benefit that you can get out of that.
Right. And with theater, it's just bigger. It's got to be bigger. With film, that's the biggest thing. People ask, you know, theater, film, what's the biggest difference? The biggest difference is with film, it's on the details. You have a camera right here. And we need to believe you, like with your subtle looks and, you know, everything that you're doing. Where theater, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? So that everybody can see you. So, yeah, it's my little thing. I don't do that in the show, just an FYI.
I got where you were going.
Oh, man. But yes, it's a great time. So if you haven't been, definitely check it out.
I will come check it out. I will. You can hold me to that. You can hold me to it. I will come and check it out.
All right.
So I have one last question for you. We're getting to the end of this interview. It's been a great interview.
Thank you.
At this stage of your career, what would you consider to be a dream project or a dream role? Because I read in a recent interview that you did, right? Yeah. With In Retrospect. Right? And you were talking about that. So what did you...
I would have to say that, I mean, and it rings true to even when I was young. I always wanted to be on a series. I wanted to be on a series because I loved, especially now though. Now big actors are doing series. So I'm like, see, I knew something. I knew series were like where you wanted to be. But for me, as an actor, to be on a series means that people have to follow you. You have to really be this character. And this character might change. Might die, hopefully later on in the season, you know, or something season like 3, that. Right. At least like give me some episodes, right? But with that, as an actor, you get to go on this journey with this character and grow with it, and people are on that with you. You know, you see how people are with Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead. I mean, people are actually getting mad at people, and it's like, that's just my character. I'm not really Negan. You know what I mean? But I love that. I love the following of that. I love being able to take that journey. I would love to be in a film too, of course, but that's that one moment. And of course, you can go back to a great film all the time. But to be in a series and to grow with the character, to do those turns and all of that, and always be doing something different, because you never know. You walk in and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm doing this today. Huh, that's different.
Right.
I think that would be my dream project.
I think you're right, because people fall in love with the characters on these shows.
Yes.
Like it's not, the writing has to be good, the story is there, but they fall in love with the characters.
Right. And then before you know it, they're cosplaying your character, or you've inspired them, or they find themselves a lot like that character, and it's something that you're pulling from people. And again, you're going on this journey and they're right there with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed this interview. Where can people follow you if they want to follow your career?
Yeah, so you can follow me.
So it'll come up at the bottom right here.
Okay. Should I look at the camera? If you want to follow me, you can follow Tina Lindsay at Instagram or Twitter. If you want to follow Indie Cinema Showcase, which I super suggest that you do if you love filmmaking, if you are a filmmaker, or anything above, at ICS TV Show. Bad Kitty Films. If you just type in Bad Kitty Films LLC, you'll get there, badkittyfilmsllc.com. If you just write Bad Kitty Films and search it, I can't promise what you're going to come up with. That's not me. So badkittyfilmsllc.com. I'm just putting it out there just in case.
Well, that was the first thing I wondered when you came up with the name. That's why.
Going back to that, actually, it's so funny that you say that. I didn't touch base on that. I didn't realize that, because that was just something I always said until people were like, so what kind of films do you make? I'm like, regular ones. What do you mean? And then I typed in Bad Kitty. I was like, oh, that's not me. So yeah. But now when you Google that, I'm at the top.
That's what's up.
So all of that mess is
started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Right.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a great interview with Limelight Conversations. Tune in next time with a very special guest.